So if you have been arrested for a crime, I know that one of your biggest worries and fears is whether or not you'll have the ability to get other jobs or other opportunities in the future. And typically when you're filling out that job application and you're trying to apply for a new position, there's always a question on the application that I feel that most people are a little bit confused about. So I want to make sure that you answer this question correctly. And that is the question on the application that says, have you ever been convicted of a crime? And what I realize is that a lot of people don't really know what happened at the outcome of their case. They're not really sure what a conviction is. So let me just explain to you in plain English. A conviction is essentially an outcome in a criminal case where a person has either been found guilty after a trial by a judge or a jury, or they pled guilty to a crime in a criminal case. And sometimes on the job applications, they may be asking, if you've been convicted of a felony. That's a very common question. And ultimately, it comes down to whether or not you know if you've even been convicted in the first place. Now, a conviction is different from an arrest. An arrest simply just means that, the police suspected you of a crime. They may have put you in handcuffs, taken you to the police station, taken your fingerprint or your mugshot, and maybe have sent you on your way, or maybe you had to go to court later down the line. But ultimately, an arrest is completely different from a conviction because it is possible that you were arrested, and it's even possible that you were formally charged in court with a crime, but that your case did not end up in a conviction. So if you never pled guilty, let's say the case was dismissed, or of course you were found not guilty after a trial, or if there's any other outcome where you didn't plead guilty or you were not found guilty, then you were not convicted of a crime. And in those situations, you don't want to answer that question incorrectly. So if you were arrested, you don't want to start explaining that you were arrested if you were never found guilty, because then you're just really giving the people or the company that you're applying to a reason to treat your application differently. And so you want to just at least, at a minimum, ensure that you know the outcome of your case. And if you were found guilty, or if you did plead guilty and you have a conviction, try to explain that on the job application. So at a bare minimum, you will usually have to disclose at least a felony conviction on a job application. Now, if you were not found guilty or you were not convicted of anything, then no need to explain anything. No need to start giving out information that nobody ever asked for, and that could be actually doing you a little bit more harm than good. Now, there are very, very rare situations where on a job application, you'll have to disclose if you've been arrested. And those are usually very serious positions. Maybe you're seeking a government clearance or some other high level position that requires a little bit more intrusion into your history and your background. And in those situations, you'll want to make sure that you understand your rights accordingly. And now the one last point that I want to make is that if you were convicted of a crime, meaning that you were found guilty or you pled guilty to the crime, and your case was either sealed or expunged, then there are usually different laws that are going to apply to you. In most states and in most jurisdictions, usually when you get a record sealed or expunged, you're not usually going to need to disclose your conviction. Of course, every law is different, every state is different, so you want to make sure that you understand the laws in your state and where you got your record expunged. But ultimately, if your record is sealed or expunged, you have the benefit of not having to disclose a conviction, especially on certain job applications. So I hope that's helpful to you. If you found this information helpful, like and follow for more.